you were going to talk a little bit about graphic novels in general, I think.
Yeah, so graphic novels is a genre that I'm relatively new to. I only discovered them last year after I started BookTube. And it's just been a sort of love at first sight relationship for me, really. I think they're a really great way to have a quick read. They cover a complete range of wide range of topics, and they aren't just for kids as I had previously thought. So recently I read a graphic novel about a girl who's coming to terms with the fact that she's a lesbian and how this was affected by her coming from an Islamic background, etc. I find that graphic novels, if people are looking to get into reading, this is a great place to start. And also there's some with not much text in at all, so you can almost tell your own story, which is great for young readers or first-time readers or readers where English isn't their first language. I also find that they're beautiful works of art. The illustrations and colour palettes are often so beautiful, and they make great gifts. And they aren't all superhero comics either. So when I first went looking for graphic novels and into my local library before I went and bought any, every single one in my local library was basically it was Batman or Superman or Fantastic Four or some sort of comic. But I've found since then that that they've got a whole wide range of things that aren't anything to do with that. So my favourite graphic novel I've read is called Jane, the Fox and Me. This is by Fanny Britt and Isabel Arsenal, and it's about a young girl who's being bullied at school, and she feels like her only real escape is to read Jane Eyre. So the illustrations in this graphic novel are absolutely beautiful. They are her normal life is done in sort of like greys and blacks and whites, but when she reads Jane Eyre, the illustrations come out in colour, and it's just a really beautiful piece of work that just really makes you feel the whole book, because you're sort of tense the whole time until these colours come out. So it's lovely. I quite often get graphic novels out from the library now, so I request them in to my local library, as they can sometimes be a little bit pricey to buy, but I've bought myself a few too now as a bit of a treat, as I think they're really great to own and to come back to. As I said, so many topics are covered, and I think there really is something for everyone here in graphic novels, whether you like action-packed stories or sort of quieter character-based stories.
We are talking to Lauren, all as part of our regular book club book review. We're talking about graphic novels, and of course our book this month is The Gigantic Beard That Was Evil. So tell us more about it.
So our book this month, The Gigantic Beard That Was Evil by Stephen Collins, is a graphic novel, and it's great. I really loved it. It's illustrated in all black, white and grey, no colour palette, and it's about a chap called Dave and the place where he lives, which is called Here. Now, living in Here is all about conformity, the way people dress, the work they do, the way their houses look like, how people enjoy themselves. Everything is neat and tidy, and that is the most important thing. Until one day, Dave, against his will, grows a gigantic beard, and the people of Here have to decide what to do with Dave and his beard. So I thought this graphic novel had a great storyline and a great message, and I was pleasantly surprised at how much storyline they managed to fit into quite a relatively short book with not much text. I love the illustration, even though it was all done black, whites and greys, which aren't necessarily always my favourite graphic novels. They were so much detail in each of the drawings, even like there's huge black pages of beard, but they still had so much intricate detail in, and I'm going to post a few pictures of the graphics on my Twitter page, which is @LaurenTheBooks, if anyone wants to check them out there. And I was just seriously impressed with the illustrations. I thought they were great. I would have loved to have given this a 5-star review, but I feel like the ending, which I'm not going to give away here, I thought was a bit ambiguous for me, and I would have liked it more nicely rounded off. But overall, I thought it was a really great read. I bought this as a gift for my boyfriend for Christmas, as he has a beard, and he hadn't read a graphic novel before and isn't much of a reader, and he really enjoyed this and found it quite an easy read. So I think if you're looking to get into graphic novels, I would definitely say that this was a great place to start. It's got a really good storyline. You take away quite a nice message from it, and I think the illustrations are really impressive. Like the artwork in these graphic novels is just something that sometimes I look at them and think I would like these pieces on my wall. They're that nice. So yeah, The Gigantic Beard That Was Evil by Stephen Collins, I gave 4 stars and I really enjoyed.
and I think you're going to be talking about graphic novels to check out next.
Yeah, so I've got some graphic novels here, some that I've read, some that I haven't read, that I would like to recommend to people if they are keen to get into the graphic novels. So the first lot are ones that I've read and my favourites that I've read. So the first one is a graphic novel by Mariko and Gillian Tamakai, who I believe are cousins, I can't be certain, and that is called This One Summer. So this is a coming-of-age story about two girls whose parents go to the same place on holiday every year. So they always meet up there, and they overhear some gossip from an older group of kids and have to sort of decide what to do with this gossip. But this graphic novel in particular is one of my favourite in terms of illustrations. It is beautifully illustrated and published, and it's got this gorgeous purple hue running throughout the book. So it's not like this big colour party of millions and millions of different colours, but it's got this gorgeous purple hue. Some pages it will be a sort of light wash of lilac, and other pages it's like a really dark, deep mauve, and it's just beautifully produced, and that's just definitely worth a check out. Persepolis by Marjam Satrapi. I bought this as a Christmas present from a friend this year, and this is an autobiographical account of a young girl growing up in Iran before, in and after the Islamic Revolution. This was a real eye-opener to me about like Islam and things that were going on in Persia before it didn't exist anymore, and it really educated me on a time in history and a religion that I previously knew next to nothing about. I earlier mentioned Jane the Fox and Me by Fanny Britt and Isabel Arsenal. As I said earlier, that is a book about a girl who's being bullied at school, and her only real relief is to read Jane Eyre. As I mentioned earlier, it's just beautifully done because the majority of the illustrations throughout the book are in grey and black and white, and then when she reads Jane Eyre it comes out in colour, and it's just really well put together. The Encyclopedia of Early Earth by Isabel Greenberg. This was the first graphic novel I ever read. I find it whimsical and beautifully drawn. The stories, it's got stories within stories within stories, and that's a really lovely place to start, and I would recommend that. The final one that I've read that I can recommend isn't strictly a graphic novel. It's The Fox and the Star by Coralie Bickford Smith. This is a beautiful picture book. It's probably primarily aimed at children, but I'd say that as an adult I got so much from it. It won Waterstone's Book of the Year last year. It is just a lovely story. It's got breathtaking illustrations and a lovely storyline, which actually made me cry, so really worth checking out that one. Some that have been recommended to me, I wrote on Twitter earlier if anyone could give me any recommendations of graphic novels that they've loved. I've got a few here. I haven't got authors for all of these, so if you're interested in any of these, definitely have a little Google of them and find out. Descender, I'm told, is a great sci-fi story. The Sculptor and Blankets, both of these are very thought-provoking, and the art and the narration work perfectly together. Mouse by Art Spiegelman. This is a graphic novel which started off as a serialisation piece between 1980 and 1991 and tells the story of Spiegelman's father and his experiences as a Polish Jew and a Holocaust survivor. Lock and Key by Joe Hill. This is a horror graphic novel series which is written by Joe Hill, who's the son of Stephen King. Witches is another horror graphic novel which is a creepy story about a man and his daughter who move to a new place and come into contact with these really terrifying witch characters. Saga is one that is always going around on BookTube. It's very popular. It is popular because of its originality, art, storytelling. It's got characters with great depth and is set in a complex sci-fi setting and has complex themes. So that's just some recommendations there, and as you can see just from the recommendations I've been saying, graphic novels just cover such a wide range of themes and topics. There really is something for everyone in there, so I'd really love to hear if anyone has got a favourite. You can tweet me on @LaurenTheBooks.
And I was hoping you could tell us your next book, or our next book.
Yeah, so I will be back on Monday the 13th of June at 8 p.m, and we will be discussing The Girl in the Red Coat by Kate Hamer. This is a book that I've recently read, and normally I like to read the book along with you guys in time for the radio show, but I read this and thought this would be perfect to talk about in June, because the other topic I want to talk about in June is holiday reads and books to read on holiday. And as I was reading this book, I was just thinking this would be the perfect holiday read. So I'm going to read the back from you now. So the back to you now. So this is The Girl in the Red Coat by Kate Hamer, and here is the bump on the back. Carmel has always been different, sometimes odd, distracted and prone to getting lost. When she and her mother Beth spend a day out at the festival, they become separated and Carmel disappears. As Beth desperately searches for her daughter, Carmel embarks on an extraordinary journey with a man who claims she has a special gift. So it doesn't really give much away there, but this is a really thrilling, page-turning book, and I just think it's going to be perfect to read over anyone who's got any holidays coming up. If you would like to contact me in the meantime, you can contact me on Twitter. I'm at Lauren the Books. I also have a BookTube channel on YouTube where I talk about all sorts of things books. Most recently, I've been running a readathon with a few other of my BookTube friends on there, and that is reachable on www.youtube.com/Lauren and the Books, and you can also email me on laurenandthebooks@gmail.com. And I will see you all on Monday the 13th of June at 8 p.m. to talk about The Girl in the Red Coat.
Lauren, it's always great to have you here once again. Thank you very much for coming
Thanks very
along.
much for having me, Daniel. Thank you.